This is the final video of my series. We're going to look at some accessories today, and then we're going to do some reviews on what we talked about so that we could steer you in the right direction to get that bike that you want. And the other thing is too, don't forget, if you start looking at bikes and stuff and you got questions for me, I'm going to leave my email so that you guys can email me with some questions. I don't mind answering them for you, so let me know. So let's go over. I've got Amazon up here. Amazon is a great place to buy these accessories for your bike because they're going to be cheaper than going to and I'm not saying don't support your local store, but Amazon, they're cheaper. So I would suggest buying them and get them all at once, and get one package, and you'll have fun with them. So here's water bottle holders. There's different ones, and I'm going to tell you. So this is a typical one here. It's cheap. It's $8.50. There's usually mounts on the bike, the screw holes where they go, so it's very easy to mount. They're kind of standard, so the holes are the same, distance apart. So you can buy these things, mount them on your bike. A lot of people do that. I'm going to make one suggestion, okay? Whether it be one like this or one like this, it's kind of nice to have the water right up on your handlebars there, so that you can just reach for it. You don't have to go down between your legs when you're driving the bike. And if you stop, that's another story. But if you're pedaling down the road and you want to take a drink of water and you're not going to stop, so now you're fishing it, down into your tubes trying to get this water bottle out, it's a lot easier just to grab it right off your handlebars and drink it. That's what I do. I have a mount similar to this one on my bike. I know a lot of guys use these ones here. If you're just going to use the cheap bottle that you can buy, you might want to get something like this so you'll have some insulation properties. I use one like this, and I use one of those like Yeti bottles, so I have cold water all the time. It's great. So, so the mounts, you get something as simple as this, but like I said, just take into consideration what you're going to do with it. There's tons of mounts for them. This one comes with the screws and the wrench. You'd be all set with this to mount it on. These type here, they just go on the handlebars. These ones here, you have to, it does go on the handlebars, but you use a screwdriver or a Allen wrench or whatever it is. And here is one of these cheaper bottles that I was talking about. I honestly, if that's what you want, that's great. I've got a couple of them, but I don't use them anymore. I use the Yeti one. It's nothing like being out there for an hour and then you go, hey, I want nice cold water. So that's that. We're going to look at, I'm kind of going out of order here, but we're going to look at bike seats because I told you about the suspension post and the bike seat. The suspension post is something, it's not a necessity, but if you want them, definitely get one. It's much more comfortable, but you're going to drop another $100 on that. But you see, these seats here, so a little bit bigger seats. I have some ones that I really like. I know that this style seat, a lot of women like that one. It's, all in the preference, but I know when you buy them, you don't really know what you're getting until you get it. But I got to tell you, it's Amazon, guys. You can always ship it back and pick another seat. The seats with the backrests on them, they may look super comfortable, but it tends to push you forward because that backrest, I don't know. A lot of people complain they feel like they're getting pushed off the seat. Just be aware of that. And the wider the better on these seats, trust me. I'm trying to look for some of my favorite seats here, and I'm not finding them. Cloud9, very good seat. I got quite a few of them. I actually don't use them anymore because there's another seat that I've been using. Like I said, I got a video out there of seats. So just look at my video on seats and you'll find out what I recommend on that. But let's, quickly look at the price. Like I said, most of these seats are going to be like $45. They're always on sale. This one here is $39, and then you save 20% on them. This one's supposedly a $50 seat down to $42. Like I said, don't ever pay too much for them. So that's bike seats. bike lock. Okay, don't go nuts buying a bike lock. You can buy these super duper bike locks, and it's very hard to get into, and that's great. But you're gonna drop $100 or $200 on them. Where are you gonna take your bike that you're that worried about it? If you live in the city, New York City or something, and you're gonna be leaving your bike on the sidewalk, yeah, get the best lock you can get. You and I probably that. We may never even use the lock. I'll tell you what I use my lock for. If I'm going to run in a store and grab something, I throw the lock on there. I put it around a signpost, a telephone pole, whatever, so that people can't just pick up the bike. I mean, you can lock the bike up with the best lock in the world. If you didn't lock it to something, they can take the bike and throw it in the back of a truck. So consider that. So you want to lock it to something solid. For the most part, thieves are going to be honest thieves. They're going to be the ones that are just going to grab your bike and take off with it. They're probably either going to dump it when they get to where they are, or maybe they're going to take it apart. But there's not a lot of people out there that professionally run around to steal bikes. And those places that if there was New York City and somebody was going to be a professional bike thief, he'd have probably the tools that he would need to cut through just about any lock. If you get a battery operated grinder with the right thing on it, it's going to cut any lock right off the bike. So it's just my advice on a lock is what I'm saying is not something quite that simple, because these things can be cut pretty easy, guys. These folding locks here seem to be pretty good. This one's a little bit pricier, but you can usually get them from the bike manufacturers. See, this one's $29. I mean, cheap is not always better. They're handy because you can mount them right on the bike instead of putting. Yeah, so we buy the water bottle that goes on the handlebars. Now we have those mounts where that water bottle would have gone. These things fit right on those mounts perfectly, and they don't take up much space, and they're a great little lock. But, that's totally up to you guys what you want for a lock. I just want you to know they're out there and my feeling on them. Like I said, if you're going to leave your bike all day, you want on the sidewalk, get the best lock you can get. If you're just going to run into a store, a kid might be walking by and went, oh, a bike. I'm going to take it and drive home and dump it on my front lawn or whatever. That's the one you want to stop. So a simple lock like this is going to work. So the other thing, we went water bottles, seats. A bell. As dumb as it sounds, you're going to want one of these bells, guys. The bells that I have on my bike, they actually have a secret compartment on them where an air tag goes into. So I have air tags on all my bikes. It's totally up to you. But if you're going to ride on a rail trail, even on the road, you got somebody walking their dog and they got their headphones on and, they don't know you're coming, start ringing the bell, see if they can hear you. When they got the headphones on, though, they never hear you. But you want the bell. It's just a nice way to say, hey, I'm coming, And if you're coming up to them and you're going on the left of them, just announce to them, hey, I'm going on your left. So a bell is a necessity as far as I'm concerned on your bike. It's up to you if you want to get an air horn and put it on there. I know some people think that's real funny, but I don't think, people enjoy that. A little bell, ding, and they're good with it. So this is the number one thing. Like I said, my feeling on these. Get yourself a good helmet. An injury on your head is going to cost you a lot more than a good helmet. So don't get something cheap. Don't go, hey, this $12 helmet's all I need. I don't suggest it. Buy something that's good, something that covers the back of your head. Not so much, these kind here, they kind of ride on the top of your head. I personally like a little bit more coverage on the back of my head and stuff. So, you see here, you're getting up in the price a little bit more when the helmets get better. There are ratings on helmets. If you get a MIPS helmet, that's one of the best ratings out there right now. Let's see if we can find one. And then the other thing, too, is get ones with flashing lights if you ever intend on being out there at night. Or even in the daytime, it doesn't hurt to have the light on, like you can see this thing here. I do have helmets with lights on them. I use them once in a while. Yeah, helmet number one, guys. get a helmet. And I'm trying to see if there's one with MIPS rating on it so you know what it is. MIPS right here. Here's a MIPS rated helmet. And it's not even that much. So we'll click on this helmet here and we'll take a look at this thing. You know, it's a nice full coverage helmet. This is something you want. You want a nice helmet. Try to get a MIPS helmet. Get something that's rated good. I can't stress enough. Get a helmet, guys. Again, you're an adult. You can do what you want. All right, bike tools. And I'm not talking about one of these kits, but it doesn't hurt to have those either. I have a kit, this kit right here. This is the exact same kit I carry in the bike. 26 bucks. Save 6% on it with the coupon, so you save a little bit more money. So you're going to be, 25 or whatever dollars. You've got a pump here. This pump's garbage. I would suggest getting a battery operated pump. There's a way to go. With this thing here, you'd be pumping if you get a 26-inch bike with a 4-inch tube on it, you're going to be pumping for half the day with one of these. I'm going to show you a bag. I suggest getting it. If you're driving around in your neighborhood, you probably don't need to carry tools in a bag. But if you're going to go 5 miles from your house, it would be good to have the bag on here. It gives you, here's a tube repair kit. It's got different Allen wrenches on this thing. It's got a couple of sockets. I suggest you find out what you have for size of bolts, like what holds your wheels on, 17 millimeter or whatever. Get one of those wrenches at Lowe's, Home Depot, throw it in the bag. Anything like these little wrenches here, they work at a pinch, but it's much better, pick up a wrench for, I don't know, $3 and leave it in the bag, because I'm going to show you a bag next. So like I said, I recommend one of these kits. You throw it in there. You've got your tire things here, so you can take your tire off and repair your tube. Half the time, guys, you don't have to take the rim off the thing. You can do it with it on. I've got a video of that out too, so check out the videos. So get yourself a tool kit. We're gonna jump to the bag here if I can find it. Nope, that's a mirror. Okay, while we're at mirrors, I can't stress enough, guys, even if you're only going to ride on the rail trails, get yourself a mirror, because when there's a bike flying up and back you or whatever, at least you might see him coming if you got a mirror on there. The other thing, I've been on a rail trail before and had a motorcycle come flying up on me, so it's good to have the mirrors on there, especially if you're on the road. I run a mirror on both sides. Most people say, oh, you don't need a mirror on both sides, you only need one on the left-hand side. But sometimes you're in a situation where it's good to have both mirrors. They don't cost that much. Half the time you can get them in a kit that you get two. I run these handlebar in ones. Two mirrors, $18. Can't go wrong. And it's all in what style you want. Different ones, this might have a little bit more. You get these, they're too small. You can't see that much. So get a not crazy large, but something that you like, that you can put up with. The other thing here, cell phone holders. They come in different things, and I know, people go, oh, you don't need a cell phone holder, leave it at home, whatever. But, you get in trouble, you can make a phone call, you get lost, you can use your GPS. It's always good to have your cell phone on you. And I'll tell you, if you're going to listen to music, because a lot of people do, first of all, these people that drive down the road and they want to have their speakers on their handlebars blasting music, I don't agree with that. I mean, not everybody wants to hear your music. Get one earbud, put it in your ear, listen to your music, leave your other ear open to listen to what's going on around you. That's what I do if I'm going to listen to music. I put one earbud in. Cell phone holders, like I said, you can go with this style here. It gives you a little place to put your wallet and your keys, say. My impression with these is they move around a lot. It bugs me. I don't like them. I'd rather throw my wallet and my keys in my bag that I'm going to show you. I prefer these type of cell phone holders, and I'll tell you, this style here does not work well. Okay, and I tell people all the time, $8.25. You've got $1,000 probably cell phone that you've got, and you're going to put it on this elastic band. crazy. Okay, so you want to get one of these. I mean, this one's $9, but I'm going to tell you, this one's a lot better than this. I wouldn't pay for $9. I'd get a better one than that. These style here's are really good. I have one like this. It's good, but this one here with this clamp to grab the bar and really clamp that thing down is great because they won't keep going like this on your bar all the time. So you can just crank that thing on. These things slides on your phone. There's a button on the back. It locks that phone in there. You can hit all kinds of bumps. Here's another good one right here. Like I said, you can really crank these things onto the best ones to get, guys. So, you're looking at $23 for a good one versus a $10 one that you may or may not, smash your phone with. So that's it on the cell phone holders. Here's the bags that I'm talking about. So 99% of these bikes come with your rear rack on the thing. So I would suggest if you're pedaling around your neighborhood, you don't need a bag. But if you're gonna, like I said, even going out 5 miles, you want to have some tools. You want to have a place to put your wallet. You want to have a place to put your keys. Anything else you want to bring with you. You want to take your camera with you, whatever. These bags are great. A lot of these bags, this one in particular, because I have this one, I'll show you, they have Pannier bags built right into them. And this is exactly the bag I got. It's got the water bottle thing in the back. I don't use that often, but I have used it. It's an option. You can also, if you have a basket on the front of your bike, you might use that instead of buying the handlebar one. So you open up these things on the side, you unzip them here, and then these fold down. The bags come dropping out of them. So you've got a ton of room in these things if you need them. You can take and go down to the store, grab some groceries or whatever, and you've got all this extra room on here. So, and they fold right back up, nice and neat. You can take this whole bag right off on a handle if you want. So that way there, if you're going to go in a store, you might want to carry it in with you so that somebody doesn't walk off with your crap. But that's totally up to you. Yeah, gloves. Okay, the other thing too, helmets and gloves. These are the summer gloves you can get. Like I said, you hit the pavement, you've got some leather here. It's going to help you out a lot more. These are better. When you're first starting out, I would suggest getting something like this that you can use in the winter too, say. But it has protection on your knuckles. It has full hand protection. Once you get used to your bike, you might not want to have that much. That's why I run these in the summertime. And in the winter, I run full gloves. I have fall gloves, I have winter gloves, and I have my summer gloves. So gloves are a must. A helmet's a must. A bell is a must. The rest is basically up to you. So let's see. I think we covered everything on accessories. Obviously, you can add anything else you wanted. I just wanted to show you the basic accessories. That's it for the accessories, and we're going to move on to our next segment, which is basically looking over what we've already discussed and trying to put a plan together to get a bike. So we're going to move on to that. This is the next segment. So we're going to review what we talked about and the questions that you should have asked yourself. I wrote them down here so that we can go over them. This, will help you in your decision here. So let's start with number one. The question is to yourself, how will I be using my electric bike? And we discussed this. We're going to go on a rail trail. We're going to go on the street only, and my intentions are just to pedal around my neighborhood. I have no rail trails near me. I have a ton of rail trails. I'm mostly going to be on rail trails. I like riding the street. I like going far. Like I said, you've got to ask these questions and also look at, what might be down the road. Do you think that you may be doing distance and stuff? Because no sense of wasting money on the wrong bike and then having to buy another one down the road. So what you're going to do with your bike is going to influence what kind of tires, brakes. Again, it's kind of a budget thing. You kind of want the hydraulic if you can get them. If you can't, cable pull's fine. Suspension. what are you going to be doing with the bike? I like suspension on my bike even if I'm riding it on the road because I got a lot of potholes up here in New Hampshire. So I got a bike with full suspension on it, and I still have a suspension seat post on it. That's how much I like my comfort. So now you got to ask yourself, you want a mid-drive, a hub motor. We've talked about this. Unless you really are in the biking and stuff, if you're on the fence about an e-bike, do not get a mid-drive. Get a hub motor. Sensor, again, there's a Canis sensor, there's a torque sensor. Torque sensor is going to be a more bike feeling, and the Canis sensor basically just it sees your pedals going around, so you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. With the torque sensor, you have to, the harder you push on those pedals in an effort is the faster the bike's going to move along. Again, a lot of people, I've been on a bike for a while now. I prefer a torque sensor, and I got one bike with a torque sensor on it because most of them have Canis sensors on them. But I would suggest starting out probably going with the Canis sensor, but the torque sensor is nothing wrong with those. It just means you're going to be putting in a little bit more effort. But remember, guys, if you don't want to put the effort in, you probably don't want to get a torque sensor anyways. And if you think you might want a torque sensor and you get on a bike and you go, oh, I'm not ready for this yet, but I do want to do it down the road, you can always use your throttle, is what I'm saying. So these are all decisions you got to make. You got to figure out how you're going to use your bike first, and how far, on the road, on the dirt trail. We're going to do both. If you're going to do both, you're going to probably want more of a hybrid tire on it. It doesn't mean that you can buy a bike with a hybrid tire, but you might be able to. It's just considerations to take when you're, like I said, if you got intentions of riding the bike on the road, don't get knobby tires. They drive me crazy. They get, growling noises on them. All right, question number 2 that you had to ask yourself. What do I want to achieve with the bike? I'm looking to lose weight. I'm looking to entertain myself and go on long rides. I'm, want to get out in nature. So you just, what are you going to do with your bike? So you have to ask yourself that. Again, if you're only going to ride around in the neighborhood, your options are probably, cheap and simple. So if you want to get out there and I don't know, you want to go out there and mountain bike and you're going to be on, really rough dirt trails, you want a whole different bike. So you've got to take everything into consideration. Most people our age are going to do a little bit of both, which means, the best thing to do, 4-inch tires, 3-inch tires, because they're better. You don't want to get skinny tires like on a commuter bike. Commuter bikes are road bikes, so you can use them on the trail, but they're just not as good. You're better off with a fat tire bike. You've got the motor to help push it along anyways, so who cares what it weighs and who cares how big the tires are. It's going to be much more comfortable to ride. But again, totally up to you. Now you got to ask yourself, can I fix my own bike? Because it's going to really matter where you buy the bike from. And there's a possibility that you could still buy a bike online, but I suggest you find a bike shop first that'll work on your bike before you buy it online. If you've only got one bike shop within 50 miles of you, and that's where you intend on bringing it, and you buy a bike online and the guy goes, well, I don't work on those. So, you got to find out whether they'll work on it. You may have to get the parts for them. Who knows? But, your bike's, you're going to need brakes. You're going to need something for your bike. So, well, I shouldn't say brakes, because brakes are pretty much the same as a conventional bike. So you can get them anywhere. But again, you got to get somebody that was willing to take an e-bike in and work on it. And you've got to transport it too, guys. So you got to consider that. Or if you can't transport it, you have no intentions of transporting it, how are you going to get the bike down to the bike shop? So they better have a way to pick them up, or you better have a friend with a truck. So consider that also. And again, we've gone over all this stuff, but if you buy it at a local bike shop, you could bride it ahead of time. It's going to be all built. You've got somebody to go back to if there's a warranty problem or there's a squeak or a squeal or whatever. How far do you plan on riding? Because that's going to really have to do with the battery, what you want, battery size. Like I said, if you're only going to do a mile or two a night, you don't need a big battery. And you could save a lot on an e-bike with a smaller battery. But again, you can never have too much battery. So you buy this bike and you think you're not going to go anywhere. And then, I don't know, 2 months down the road, you go out there and you went, wow, this thing is a blast. And you start venturing out and then you go, I should have bought the bigger battery, So again, think about it. The big thing, budget. How much money do you want to spend on a bike? For the most part, everybody wants to spend as little as possible, and I'm the same. But you've got to figure out, what's your ceiling. And don't walk into a bike store and say, hey, I've got $2,500 I want to spend on a bike and no more. Because he's only going to show you $2,500 bikes. You go in there and, you tell him, well, as little as possible. And he's going to start out probably with the cheaper bikes and bring you up to the $2,500 bike, and then you can make your own decision on it. Otherwise, if you go in there and say $2,500, he's going to go, you don't want that other bike. It's a piece of junk. So trust me. So pedal assist and throttle, we talked about this. I just, want you to be aware again. Class 1 bikes going to be pedal assist only. Class 2 is going to have pedal assist and throttle. Class 3 is going to have pedal assist and throttle, but go a little bit faster. Most of these bikes can be set to Class 3, but not all of them. Question to ask, most of them, if you're buying it online, it will say that the bike is capable of doing 28 miles an hour. That means it can be overridden. Frame style and size, okay? So you've got to figure out how big of a bike you want. And again, my suggestion is go to a local bike shop. Even if they don't have e-bikes, get on some bikes and it'll give you an idea of what size bike you want. They're probably not going to have a 20-inch bike in stock that's not electric because they're basically kind of exclusive to electric bikes for adults. They'll have 20-inch bikes for kids, but it's not going to be the same as an electric bike. But again, folding frames, a moped style, a conventional bike looking one. So you got to decide on your size and your frame style. And so, once you've got all these answers, so we're just going to say, for instance, how will I be using my bike? I'm going to be on the rail trail, and I'm also going to do some road riding. Okay, so that makes some again, we'll go to the tires. What do I want for tires? I'm going to want some sort of a hybrid tire, not something that's super knobby, something that may have some knobs in it, but it has a lot of filler in between the knobs. You'll know what I mean when you see them. There's tires that, the ones that have the knobs literally, 3/4 of an inch apart are the ones that are going to growl down the road, and the ones that come on a lot of these bikes. So you get ones that there's maybe 1/4 of an inch in between the knobbies. That's more of a hybrid tire. They're going to be quieter and stuff. So, so again, your tires. Again, we're going with a bike. We're going to be on the rail trail. We're going to be off the rail trail, and I think I'm probably going to be doing not a lot of distance, but I'm probably going to want to do. I mean, guys, you're going to do 5 miles in 10 minutes. It's on some of these places, so you might do a lot more mileage than you think. But we're going to say we're going to do 15 to 20 miles, okay? So pretty much that's going to give us a 14 to 20 amp hour battery. 20 amp hour battery is going to give you 35 plus miles. So again, a lot of these come with 10s. I don't recommend a 10. 10 is going to give you 20-ish miles, maybe 25. I know they're going to say they're going to give you 50, but they're not. So the more battery, the better. But so we're going to go 10 miles, okay? 15 to 20 miles, we're going to say. on a far. That's the most I'm thinking I'm going to do. But I want that 20 mile. So we're going to go with a 15 or a 20 amp hour battery. We're going to go with hybrid tires. What do I want for brakes? Honestly, I'm going to get hydraulic if I can. But like I said, cable pull's not going to stop me from buying a bike. But the hydraulic brakes are going to stop you a lot better. And we're going to be on the road. We're going to be on rail trails and stuff. We're not going mountain biking, so we could get away with cable pull if we had to. Suspension, I don't know. Suspension seat post is probably going to be okay for me because I'm only going, 15, 20 miles at the most. I don't want a mid-drive. I'm going to get a hub drive, and I want a Canis sensor. Okay, so I just answered a whole bunch of questions right there, and now I've got a somewhat of a bike. So we already figured out what we want to achieve with the bike. We're going to pedal it for a 15 or 20 mile. Sometimes we're going to do 5. We're doing it because we want to get out there. We want to get a little bit of exercise. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this bike. So again, we're still on a right path here. We already talked about how far we're going to drive. My budget. You know what? I only want to spend no more than $1,500. Okay, so there's my budget. You pedal assist. Well, you know what I want? I want pedal assist and I want throttle. Why wouldn't I? So that's what I want. So I know that. Frame style. I don't want a moped style. That's out. And I kind of like, I want it to look like a regular bike. So now we know what frame style we're going to get. Now we just got to figure out what size we're going to get. Again, it's something you've got to, if you're, I don't know, 6'5", you're probably going to want a 26-inch bike. The other thing is too with the style. Do you want step over or do you want the step through? And my suggestion to new people out there, get the step through. It's a lot easier. We decided we're going to get a bike. The other thing is too that I told you to consider is, am I going to transport the bike? So, you know what? I think I probably would like to take it down to a rail trail that's farther away that I know of. My brother lives in a town 4 towns over. He's got an e-bike, so I kind of want to go over there once in a while. And I don't have a trailer hitch on my car, so I'm going to get a folding bike. So that gives me my size, 20-inch. So we just answered all these questions, and now we've got a plan. We want a 20-inch bike. We want a folding bike. We want throttle and pedal assist. Our budget's $1,500. We plan on riding, 15 to 20 miles, so we know what size battery we're going to get. I'm pretty handy with bikes. I can, I can work with tools and stuff, so I'm probably going to buy it online and save myself some money. I know what I want to do with the bike. The brakes, I'm on the fence for. I'm going to try to get, in my $1,500 range, I'm going to try to get hydraulic. And I'm going to tell you, if you're spending $1,500, you're probably going to get hydraulic. We know we want more hybrid tires. We're not going to get a suspension. We're going to get a hub motor, and we're going to get a Canis sensor. Now we know what kind of bike we want. It's just a matter of looking at the manufacturers and figuring out which bike appeals to you the most now. So, again, guys, I'm going to drop my email on this thing. If you find a bike, you go down to your local store, you see an event and you want to know, you say, hey, I'm looking at this event in level 3. What do you think of that? I'll tell you what I think of it, guys. So, let me know. Again, even if it's a bike I've never seen in person, I can look at the specs online and I can tell you what I think the bike's going to do. I will look into the bike itself. I'm going to tell you, the big secret that I do is Facebook, guys. If you're on Facebook, there's all these groups out there. So let's say you find a juiced bike. You say, hey, I really like that juiced bike. And I wonder if they're any good. Go on to Facebook, type in juiced bikes, and you're going to find groups. Get onto one of those groups. You usually got to be accepted to them, which is just, it's what kind of bike do you have? And you go, hey, I got a juiced whatever the bike is you're interested in. They go, okay, you're in the group. So you get in the group. You start looking around at what people have to say about them. If you see a lot of people, hey, my bike doesn't go up hills for crap. And a lot of people start chiming in, going, yeah, I know, that's terrible, and, whatever. Then you're going to know, hey, I got a lot of hills. I probably don't want that bike. That's how I find out a lot of information, guys. And if I want to know something, I usually just drop a question on there. Hey, I got this juice bike, and I was wondering if you guys have the same issue with the bike or something, and or how do you transport it, or you can ask these questions. People are more than willing to help you on these sites. They're always friendly for the most part, and that's the best way to find out about bikes, guys, is to join a group of the bike that you're interested in. Hey, I want to buy a motorcycle. Hey, motorcycle group. Hey, look, there's 3 of them. Join all 3 of them. So that's the end of the series, guys. Like I said, I'll leave my email on there. You got any questions, hit me up. Thanks for watching the series, guys. I hope it helped out. If it did, hit that like and subscribe button for me, and keep watching my videos because I do a lot of interesting things. Thanks, guys.